So that's the entire spec. And we want to try to improve this spec. What if there's more that should be added to it, and I think that or stuff that could be taken away or simplified. And I think the best way to do that at the moment is probably to try and prototype, especially the Lure service and the configuration API, the Lure app. These are pretty small. The very simplest prototype would not integrate with hosting, not integrate with groups or anything like that. It would just implement what's in the spec here. Have a very simple landing page with a HTML Web 1 form, and it would have something that subscribes the bytes. When it sees the token go through, it just prints it out. It just logs it, right? It says that got clicked. If you get to that point, then everything else gets built around the edges of it, right? You can have the hosting team build hosting integration. You can have the landscape team build integration into groups. You can have third-party app developers build integration to the third-party apps. You can have whoever's building the landing page build that. So this is the center of that sort of hub and spoke topology. And so that's what I'm going to try to prototype. I wonder if it makes sense to start with the Lure service API or the Lure app. They're both pretty simple. Should be able to do them both over the next couple hours. We'll see. The Lure app is really straightforward. I think I'll do that one first. The Lure service app is also really straightforward, but it has a little bit of like it needs to bind something in air, and you gotta have some kind of a front end. Well, you don't have to have some kind of a front end. You can mock it with curl, and I might just do that. But also that kind of front end should be really easy to make, and I kind of want to try it because it's been forever since I've used Sail, and I think Sail will be the easiest way. And it makes the demo look real, right? Or makes it be real on some level. So I'm going to start with the Lure app. Okay. Right. I've got a few fake ships ready. They're just booted from master, and I created a couple of desks. For a long time, I've used moons only for developing. I'm going to try fake ships just because I haven't done that workflow in a while, and see what it looks like. Alrighty. Then let's see what's next. And if you're feeling lost at all, you should be able to go back and watch the beginning of, you should be able to watch the VOD even now while it's ongoing. I forget exactly how you do that, but you should be able to go back and see even the current one from the beginning. Otherwise, just go look at the spec. But I'll be explaining everything I do as I do it as well. So, alrighty. We will start. We'll keep this up. I think we can put the whole thing just about over here, pretty close. And we will make an app. So let's do this here. I haven't got anything set up yet. terms of the app itself, but I'm just going to copy into a version of base, and so it should be fine. Okay, let's put in a desktop bill just so that, let me see an example of that as well. Just so that we don't accidentally move everything over to this. So it's going to be just a Lure app. And then alright, Lure app lure.hoon. We'll split this out into libraries and such at some point probably, but for the moment this should be sufficient. All right. Let me think. Is there a good example to start with? Honestly, I'll just copy this other one that I was working on in an earlier stream. Probably should do it inside of a desk subdirectory, but it's fine. Okay, I'll just start from here to make it easy. This probably does not use shoe for the moment. That's going to make it a little bit annoying. I think it's fine though. It's that, right? Yeah. The state we said for the Lure app is just a pat-t. Obviously it needs a version number. It's a really long name. Might change that. These are shoe things. Nothing from shoe. These other ones, yes. These are the shoe ones. We'll get rid of those. I don't know if we want, let's see. We definitely don't need any of this. I don't know if we want this core pattern yet, or separately. We probably don't. This is very simple. I'll get rid of it and I'll put it back if I decide that I want it. Okay, so let's see. That core is gone. There's no default shoe. Okay, what references do we have to soil core? Nothing uses that. Yeah, okay. What was happening here before? Oh, right, yeah. Okay. So, on init, we don't do anything. Well, on init, we'll actually go ahead and set the default service. We will set it to localhost. I don't know if it's 8080. It's going to be this one. We can make sure to put that on 8080. Although it's on 8082 right now because apparently something else is running. Oh, right. I still have these guys running. They do not need to be. All right. I will go ahead and run these on. I'll put it on 8080 in a bit. So default service is that. On save. On load. Doesn't do anything exciting. On poke. It'll be like a set default service. Yeah, I'll just do it in here. Why not? So, if it's a pat p, right? So, okay, it shouldn't be now. Okay, so lure command, I guess. We'll give that a type. Probably doesn't need to be quite this much stuff happening, but eventually we're likely to want this. So we're going to say set service. Okay, this is really long. I think this is fine. I have to C3FE because there's so many E's in it because it's so long. Okay, cool. Then back here, we know that it's set service because that's all there is, and so we say vic.command. It is this with, this doesn't even need to be like that if we're not using the like a helper core. This vic.commands to, or sorry, with vic set to vic.command. Vic obviously being short for service. All right. We could, like, you know, check and see if it's a valid one, but oh, it should be at a subdirectory. Default, we'll just use urbit, and we should decide whether it has a faz. I believe the spec says it does have a faz because it should be concatenated with that with no faz. So we'll say it has a faz. Okay. Looks good. All right. Okay, want to expose this over scry. That's on peak, which is, if I remember right, just a path. Let me see if I can find an example of one of these. Let's see, Kiln's not a great example, but also it works. Or hood, I guess. It's the first one that comes to mind. Okay, so it takes a path, and it produces a unit cage. That path starts with, presumably, okay, this is why hood's not a great example, because most of it gets parsed elsewhere. On peak, yeah, so it starts out with the care. Okay, so, unless it's, well, now I'll do it as a what less because eventually we're going to want that probably. And probably coincide. Well, I'll do it this way for now. Right, if you don't recognize it, that's null null. And so we're at send. Okay, so it should be send x, just service, and that's it. And it should produce vic, except as a chord URL something. We'll write it as chord for now. Okay, that looks good. All right. It has a path. That you can subscribe to. Right, which looks like this. The step agent goal thing, maybe it should be used more often. I don't know. It has some real downsides compared to this, which lets you use your actual type, because this is defined here instead of being just some generic agent. It lets you compose these better. So that's why I don't really use step agent call. Okay, so this is going to be, we'll do the same type of pattern. If we don't recognize it, then we'll do the default response, which is this. If we do recognize it, it's because it's going to bytes. Arguably, you should be able to do this for a specific token as well, instead of just getting everything. But for a prototype, I think getting everything is fine. Okay, so nothing to do. We're just saying it's fine because on watch is going to crash the other ones. We don't have any information to respond. All right. We respond to this poke as well. Should that just be a command? Command, we want to say basically that actually only comes from ourselves, and everything else comes from. Yeah, I think a foreign command and a local command are not the same thing. That does remind me that we should do this. It's like team title something. Let's take a peek. Except I don't like team title. It's just like, do I want a moon? No, I don't want a moon. No, just our bowl should be the same as something in the bowl. Let's see. Source double. Yeah. Okay. I sure that's the same for a lure command. Otherwise, this is the stuff that can come over the wire, and that's. We'll namespace everything under lure, I think. Yeah, so we'll call it lure byte. Maybe it should be more generic than that, but we'll start with that. And this can come from anywhere. It generally come from the lure service, but I think we probably don't want to like restrict it to be only the lure service, even if we could do that, because I don't think it helps really. The lure service is taking the stuff in publicly anyways. So, all right, this one should be. I don't know that I want to take byte for that. Also, byte is taken. Right, it's this for all the bitwise stuff. I don't want to overwrite that. There's all kinds of 4-letter words that thematically match this, right? Lure, of course. Bite, bait. Fish. If you really needed a name for the inviter, I've been using Alice because it's more respectful. Yeah, okay, so it's a foreign command. Do we hit command, let's see, lure byte. Byte's a decent name, but a second. Time to go to Power Thesaurus. Let's see if we come up with something. Because the name matters, unfortunately. Gnaw. G-N-A-W, that's another good one. Nip. Peace. Snap. Nosh. Wow, there's actually a bunch of these. Meal. Feed. Peck. Wow. There's a bunch of great synonyms. None of them really match what this is. This is a local command, and I want like a foreign command. Is there something I can... I could just call it bait for now. It's a bad name, but it'll be fine. Does bait get used much? Just that one place in clay. Yeah, okay. We'll use bait for now because it thematically matches, and I don't have a better name for it. Okay, so this is gonna be the vase, and let's get that type going. I think we can close some of these. It might always be just one thing, but we'll write it this way for now. This will be in some library because we need a mark for this. Byte 0 is what it's defined as over here. I don't like the mismatch between bait and byte. I'll think about it. Okay. Token and so here's where you could use fish, but we won't. All right. Then now we have the token in the ship. Basically, we just want to give this, so it's going to be. Bring this up again. So I can remember. Let's give fact bytes lure bait. We'll use the same mark and key. Oh wait, on wash should be restricted to only our own ship. Our double source double, which yeah, I'll do it as a single line, but I'll do it in white form then. All right. Poke is restricted correctly. Okay, so when you're subscribed, lure bait. But it's the whole cage, so it's actually then mark, and we don't even need to zap guard again, although we could. Should we? Just to normalize it. It's a little bit weird, but because yeah, technically it doesn't even need to do that. It could just pass it through directly. But I kind of like this because then we guarantee that we know that it's of exactly the correct type. Nice for performance reasons, and it also means that we go ahead and sort of prove that it's the right type. Here we normalize it here instead of just hoping that our subscribers are going to normalize it correctly. Okay, so lure bait. That looks correct. That is, I think, everything that's in the spec. See how it works. Bus is the lucky depository for this one. Mount, lure, and we will copy in, let's see, what did I call this? Lure, yeah. Bus, lure, and we're gonna copy from lure, there. I think that's correct. Looks good. Okay, then I should be able to run it. Although, let me real quick, because I haven't actually made a backup of these. Yeah, it's something kind of like this, except it's, instead of fleet 2, it's your into it's gonna hurt tab completion, so there. It's also then easy to remove all your backups at once, which sounds like a bad idea, but it's actually a good one. Okay, well, I understand it's not a directory. That's why I'm apparently I need to do it first. Okay, let me do that. Does it work? No. No, it doesn't matter. Alright. Now I should be able to start these up again. Alright. Looking good. So, now I should be able to install our... This does not have any of the Agent Clay stuff on it, which I will get back to testing that and figuring out where we ended up at the end of our last stream, which was kind of sad. Where are we at? Okay, so have giveness. I think I gave a. Yeah, this should be a. I just gave it, like, produced a card instead of a list of cards plus new copy of ourself, which is this. All right. Dang, okay. See what else we got. Still doesn't like that. I'm probably forgetting something about what goes in here. List of paths, cage, set. Oh, wait. I duplicated the mark. We'll do that. Should it just be mark? Yeah, because it's going to be the same thing as what came in. Okay. Okay, commit should be in there. Okay, yeah. Whoa, okay. We got 2 compile errors. Once you fix them, then we're good. Well, then it runs. So, let's see what happens if we lure Pam, lure. Well, let's try and scribe from it first, right? Send GX, lure, service, noun. It's that, right? I think. Nope. Living dangerously. And it overwrote even the. Or no, well, there it is. But, okay. Tar, send GX, lure. That's what's in on peak, right? Service, noun. Okay, we gotta look at Kiln to see how it's pricing this. That looks correct. No 2 from chord to noun. If I just call it chord, then it works. Okay. Exciting. In that case, not a chord, it's a noun. It's fine. But that, of course, is actually a pat T, right? Yep. All right. We want to change that. Lure command. Set service. I think that's what it was. Yep. To 8081. 8081. Very bad. And now that's scry. It says 8081. Perfect. All right. And scry goes back to 8080. Then, what next? We want to be able to subscribe to it and see what happens. Like, if we peak, do we get it? We should write a little app for that because nice if we had a generic, like, just like test out this scry path. I think I've written versions of that in the past. Never really got something that I felt like worked well for the purpose. But I think this will work. But so I'll just write a bespoke one. It's fine. It's gonna be real easy. Should we call it sub.hoon? Actually, I think there might be this might only be in the Agent Clay work. Let's see. Somewhere one second. Find. Whoa. Urbit package arvo. Yeah, package arvo lib test. Or test lib or lib test? Lib test sub.hoon. It's actually pretty much exactly this. Yeah. Actually, I might just be able to use this. Why is it a library? It's an agent. Why? It's probably used in tests and other stuff. Well, I could probably. Well, let's see. Lure app. We'll call it sub.hoon. Test sub. That's producing an agent. Can we just do this? And then see if we're able to use it? Maybe. If so, we're going to want desk.build to also have this. Or else use bar start or whatever, but this is fine. Don't have any history anymore. All right, where are we at? What do you not like about this? So app sub, it doesn't build. No mouse oh wait, it's a lib, not a sewer. Okay. Installing sub. Okay, so sub. What does it take? It takes what? It can only watch at FastFoo? What? Man, this had a chance to be so much more generic. Dang it. Okay, well, that means I mean, obviously this was built for some very specific purpose. But we can modify it. We can just copy and modify it. This is, tempted to make some jabs at programming languages that would be like, simply inherit from it and overwrite these messages, these methods, or some other thing that that involves a fixed point or whatever. There's a whole discussion to be had there. Okay, now I have two options. I gotta make it actually generic or make it sufficient for my purpose. And one of those is easier. You can even do this in init, but I'll do it on poke just so that we have control over it. We get a fact, we should be printing this out. Why is this going into a... Whoa, okay, yeah, this is actually way more specific than I expected it to be. We don't care about this, it's just the wire. I'll use not quite exactly the same thing so that I can grab, and also so it's visually clear why the one thing is the one. Don't need that. Case of kick, it's fine. Basically, you can use verb to get a lot of this information. Verb starts out on by default, great. Then the only thing I want to do is print out, if I get a fact, I want to respond to that specifically. So, in the case that it's a fact, that means we should be getting, it's the sign one, actually, we should have a cage. So, it's cage dot sign. Convenient, I think. Okay, so that's not saying it's a cage. It's actually q.cage.sign that we want to zapgal to this type, which now should go in a ser file. We will go ahead and do that. Yeah. Okay. At that moment in the evening when the sun comes, reflects off of this window, for it's like one thumb length of time, which is like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, before the sun actually goes down and it shines directly in my face. Alright, command and bait should both be in there? Yeah, because you might run the command from another app, I think. Alright, so we're going to pull this in as a ser file, sure. And we'll go ahead and keep everything namespaced for the moment. So if it is namespaced, it's tempting to use byte and just be like, well, I'll just namespace it all the time. Maybe. Maybe not, though. I don't know. Doesn't matter. That got deleted from me, right? Yeah. Alright, then this is going to be a lure. And then we want to, I guess we don't even need to, yeah, we could have just used cell to just arbitrarily print what we get instead of zapgalling it, but this is fine. We want to print sub dot and then bait and then produce text this. All right. What else does this support? On fail, on load, on poke. All right, looks good. Let's see what we got. There's no sirloon. Oh, I gotta restart this because the globbing happens at the time that you start that, and so I added the sir directory, and it doesn't get auto added to it. Now it's saying passing something about that's wrong. Since it was right before, I imagine it's something that I changed. Pass byte wire agent ship lure. Oh, ship is not a thing anymore. It's our double. Yeah. This might as well be lure. Yeah. We used to be getting the ship as part of the command. All right, that compiled. So now then, sub. What is it? Watch? No. It's like. Oh no, it's Pam watch? Yeah. Okay, gotta watch act. Alright, now if we go to lure and poke it with whatever it is we're poking it with. Okay. lure bait. So this is, we're pretending like we're the invite service. We're going to need to write marks for these, but it's fine. The content is byte 0, some token, and then, did I say, what type did I give the token? Pat T? I guess that's fine. Maybe Pat TA, really. Yeah, Pat TA. Alright, and ship is probably R. No, it's, let's say neck. Because neck represents the invitee, Alice. And so I've got it. So another one, so I've got it again. Perfect. Okay, so AppLure seems to be working correctly. And next we need to write a mark for it, for lure bait, because that's what's getting sent over the wire. Alright. Mar lure bait.hoon. Still need a better name for that, but I just have to rename everything, it's fine. We need to mkdir mar and lure. This should pull in the lure sur file. And then it should look like a mark, which is something like this. I think it, okay, we're going to pull up an example, but I think it just needs grab and grow and whatever. So let's see, for now. Package arvo mar. What are some good mars in here? Some easy ones like, well, this isn't the best example, but it's fine. Right, so we need grad, potentially, we certainly need grab, noun, bait lure, and we need a grow, which is just the bait that entered our scope here. All right, that should work. Apparently I changed Sir Lure. Oh yeah, made it Patier. Okay, let's at least make sure that one fires. Can we? Well, I'll at least build file. It's gonna be hard to. Okay, yep. Okay. If it builds, it's. I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it's close enough to start with. Okay. So there's lure. Let me go ahead and make some git commits, right? So git commit, well, git status now. I think it's everything, right? Lure, desk.bill, mar. Yeah, I mean, it's everything. Oh, yeah. Might as well include this there as well. We'll move it as necessary. Okay, so initial commit lure. All right. So that works. Let's now write the lure service. That's going to share almost nothing with this. It'll use that mark, but that's fine. All right. And I think it's just going to be called lure service, right? You could call it, I don't know, boat that you're fishing from or something. But I like putting everything under the same, like namespace it all under the word lure. I don't know. Realistically, these are separate desks at some point because they get run by different ships probably. But it's fine. We start this way is fine. All right. Then let me actually pull the other one up just to copy. To get a skeleton. Okay, it's gonna have the same imports. It has no state, right? I don't think it has any state. Then that's not necessary. That looks fine. Doesn't do these. We'll leave this as a placeholder. Nobody subscribes to this. Nobody scries from it at the moment, as far as I'm aware. I don't think we have a way to get web front ends that way. All right. I will have to remember. See, yeah, I don't remember how you serve web pages, but we'll find out soon. Okay, so there's like at some point this is gonna need to send that poke. But first we need to figure out how you serve a web page, which I haven't done in forever. What's a good app to crypt from? Let's service web pages. Pals might be decent. Yeah, maybe. Because it'll also show how you do sales stuff, which is how this is going to be. So, let me see if I don't think I have that. No, I don't. Okay, git clone. Wait, it's git at, right? Fang hep, sweet. I think it's that. Yeah, okay, so let's pull this up in a new tab. Sweet app pals.who. Is it huge? No, it's like 300 lines. And a bunch of that is, you know, starts with 50 lines of comments. Okay. Nice. This just looks like really nice, clean code. Even that, which is like dense, you can tell, you can just, I mean, I don't know, it's just, you could read that. There's nothing hard about this. All right, so handle HTTP requests is, I think, the main one. That comes, if I remember right, it's, yeah, there's a watch and then there's a request, and it's right. Okay. I actually probably should have this up like here, we'll say. Sweet app pals. Okay. So actually, we do need an on watch. Right, so We'll use one like this. Actually, this should be like Pals does it. Just at the top of it. It's safer. If we end up, we'll actually want to be able to subscribe to this from somewhere else, that we can add that later. But like by default, you want all this stuff to be locked down. Okay, so okay, on watch here is gonna look like this, except HTTP response is also legal because that's what Air will subscribe to us on. And then it'll poke us with the request. We respond along this. So, okay. Looks good. Then the poke comes through under handle HTTP request. Yep. Which okay. I think there's some mechanism here that I'm not familiar with for how we're ending up with. Oh yeah, well yeah. No, I've lost it. Handle HTTP request somehow is giving us something that is reasonably well typed. Let's see what. Okay, so this order rudder thing. Let's see where that comes from. I assume that there's a rudder here. Yeah. Order. It's a type here. Oh. It's just inbound request error. Okay, which is inbound request. Which is that? Okay. I feel better then. Because that's what I wanted, something pretty raw. So it's going to be this. For these. And we say, okay, now I have an inbound request from Air, which yeah, which we can then just start to parse. There's a whole set of things happening here. I don't know rudder really. Okay, so where that leaves us. Let's see. Oh wow, it's a gorgeous sunset, which I don't have an easy way to show, but oh well. Yeah, there's some kind of storm / cold front has moved through, and so you get some nice clouds on sunset. All right. Okay. So we have an inbound request. We want to parse out of it if it's a get or a poke. This, I want to understand a little more how, this should have, right, so how Pals is doing this. Yeah, so Pals is coming from, that's kind of what I was guessing. We have the web UI, which has a whole bunch of stuff. Wow. Okay. And so we're saying, yeah, look up in there. Content. We don't need to be that complicated. That's not particularly complicated. It's just, you only do that when you have more than one. Like, yeah, you have more than one page. We only have one page, although we respond to get or post on it. But, okay, so let me dig into this type a little bit. So, source address of this request. I don't know what source. Oh, address. There's, yeah, it's a, right. It's the IP address. So The request itself is the thing we're actually looking for. Method and URL, they're the ones that matter, plus the body. Okay, we gotta look at rudder though to understand, or to see an example of this being parsed. Steer, the main helper. In a little bit of an inside-out way. Okay, point. Something here is parsing this, right? Fours? No. Pages, page rudder, which is this type. Okay. Yeah, request.order purse. Purse, that's probably the one. URL cord to query. Wow. Are also available in libserver.whom. Okay, let's take a look at libserver. That's probably the one to use. Let's do it like this. It's not called purse here though. Right. Okay, this is much better. Require authorization. We do not want to require authorization. Give simple payload is not a bad one. Give some. Yeah. This is a library that we should have been looking at earlier. Right. So give simple payload with that will get us a significant way through. Okay. Except we actually want to switch on the method and do we? What? Well, yeah, because we need to parse stuff out of the URL. So, parse request line gives a request line, which gives you extension. I don't know what ext is. Let's load this library in and see what happens. Right. So, let's play around with it. Okay. Parse request line from sir out of, let's say, this. That doesn't even parse. Well, that's not great. How? Maybe it's not expected to start that way. It starts with just a faz. Oh, is that what it is? We don't get the host name in? Inbound request. The URL is not escaped. There is no escape. Does it not give us the host name? This kind of acts as though... Hey, does anybody call this? Debug, for example, does. That should be easy, right? Like that's actually maybe even a better example to look at. Right, okay. Well, here. Okay, parse request line. URL.request. I mean, that really suggests that it doesn't get the rest of it. Wait, so that produced it with a, yeah, with the blank, with the nothing. This is like, yeah, there's nothing in there that we can parse. I don't know what extension, oh, that's like that, right? Yeah. And then we say, you know, with lure is 3. Okay, that looks good. Cool, cool, cool. Then that leaves us at, we know how to use this. We don't need this anymore. We can include server here and say, what is it? Parse request line from server on url.request.rec. I think. And that will give us a request line from server which we can now match against, right? So we can say that it should be no extension Urbit is the category, and then 2 more items, and then nothing. It goes in that order, right? Yeah, and then should have no arguments. Right. So this, that's what all of them are. So if it's not that, then we want to give it 404, right? How do we give 404? Let me pull up lib server here. Probably don't need this anymore, just have a little bit. 404 is not found, is the simple payload, so it's a combination. Okay, so not found from gen and give simple payload from app. Okay, so give simple payload app server of not found gen server. Looks good. Okay. All right. Then, so if we are at the right place, then we want to check if it's get or post. We'll do this method dot request dot rec. The other option, of course, is to do this, which I kind of like. I don't know. It's probably better to just fully qualify everything. Nah, this is fine. Makes it look a little cleaner. if we don't know it, then do this. We can probably give simple payload to anything, right? Because give simple payload is just saying basically, don't worry too much about it. Oh, it needs another argument too. Like it's saying we're not going to do some list of things or delay or response or whatever. We're just going to, yeah, okay. So I think we can do that. So it's give simple payload with the ID pre-filled, and then we can just do this. This obviously needs to be checking something, which is request line. All right, then we could probably do that inline if we wanted, but I think this is fine. Can't be afraid of Tizfaz. All right, this then is simpler. Not found. However, if we get or post, then we do want to respond to it. We'll start with post because the thing we want to do is simpler. Well, we want to do. We want to present a page in both cases. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see. We can give an HTML response. Let's see. I forget what Sail produces. HTML response. Is it one of these that we can do just a bank directly? Because that's what Sail's going to produce, I think. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do get first, actually. Okay, so get. I think we can do. I think make response is probably the right answer. Thanks to octs, right? Because it's going to be. Just looking at pals stuff again as an example. Right. Right, so he rewrote all the lib server stuff, which seems appropriate. He's probably put more thought into it than... I don't know if it's more thought than lib server, maybe. Okay, so... Certainly chose shorter names, which is nice. But I'll use the stuff that's in base because I don't know, it's there, it's fine. All right. So Manx response, is it in general? Manx is in... Okay, so I need to see an example of Sail because I have not used it in forever. Let's use this one. Pals, web UI, index. Let's find an example of it. Right, something like that. Okay, so make HTML, make head. I'll just copy this and modify it. But I will take it out of this, I'll make a helper function for it. Call it. It's the landing page. Page is a fine name for it. All right. Title. Get on Urbit. No. Join this group. I don't know. I'll just call it there for now. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what any of this stuff does, and so I'm going to leave it off for the moment. I mean, I sort of know what it does, but okay. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. So at this point that I go and check, his code is MIT licensed, so I can modify it as much as I want, and it's fine. Okay. It's basically just going to be enter your path P, and then this should be a form somewhere, which looks like this. Most of this stuff doesn't exist. See if I can remember my HTML. No, it's just an input. We're going to want a submit button, but it comes after probably. Yeah, I think it just looks like this, right? Oops. Text. The name for this one is ship. Type is text, yes. And it is a ship name. Submit name. I don't know what name is used for a submit button. I'll call it submit. Value meet. I don't know what that means either, but we'll give it an empty value, and we'll say request invite. It's kind of maybe the wrong way to think about it, but it works. Why does that have a make at the end and the other one not? Wait, what did this look like when it was like this? I have no idea. Oh, because that's what the col. The col means that there's content to it. Mix means there's no content to it, I guess. Okay, that looks good. All right. Then I feel like these are not, like, we need that, right? Surely. Okay, so we want to give that page. That page is a Manx. And so we want to do Manx response page. I can't just do page. There's another usage of page that I don't want to clobber. We'll call it landing page. The post one, we want to do that, but we also want to do something else. Well, actually, for post, we want to give a, like, request is on its way. Yeah, we'll just make one of those real quick. Well, okay, let's get the get version working all the way through before we do the post. Shouldn't be hard. All right. I think that should basically work. I'm going to step away for just a minute. I will be right back. Alrighty, back. Alright. So now we just want to see if the thing compiles. It does compile. See if we can. Oh wait, we're missing one more step before we really be able to test this, which is that we need to bind a subpath. So Need to see how Pals does this. I'll use this one. Yeah. Okay. Sweet app pals dot whom. It's connect, right? Actually debug. I don't have the debug app up anymore. That would have another example of it. So it's this, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll do it in on load. And then we'll actually just go ahead and make this call on load. Yeah, actually, that's not a terrible pattern. It should be an on init. It's just that we want to re-init it. Except we haven't init it in the first place, so we'll put it in on init. Perfect. Okay. Air connect. Arvo connect. Want to do it at dap.bowl or at? No, I want to do it at like Fez Urbit because that's the name of our category right now. Call it good enough. Okay. Urbit's not really the right thing to put there. For one thing, it's. I was about to say it's impossible to find and replace, but there's. I'll bet you that there's like no cases of Urbit being used in package Arvo. Let's see. Okay, there's a few. But they're all like docs, right? There's certainly no slush Urbit. Alright. Man, I'm tempted to use Urbit as a just like as a type name or something. For something totally like just something specific that has nothing to do with Urbit in general. Alright, where are we? Alright, so on init we send this. Except it's we want that says anything under that path, right? I'm pretty sure. For dap.bowl, that's us. Okay, I think it's that. This is the same thing, so it also, seeds it with, go ahead and try to send a pals request to paldev. Probably has a list of how many people have installed pals now, because there are all those requests on paldev. If he accepted them, then all of a sudden everybody would be in the same gossip network. And paldev would be at the center of Urbit. But he doesn't need to already, because he's kind of already at the center of Urbit. Alright. Then let's add it to desktop bill as well. Alright, then request line close server does not work in whatever it's called, skin mode or whatever. That's kind of crazy. That should work, right? Oh wait, I could do that. That was what I meant to do. That's fine. Okay, what was the next one? Mint vein on 63. It's saying request line can't be that. Let me make sure that it's still saying that. It is. So request line from server is okay, so, it's got this like weird nested thing, right? It's saying this plus this, and then args. Yeah. Thank you, compiler, for catching that. Find makes response. It's makes response in gen server. Okay, so that leaves. It is under that, right? Yeah. Okay. Have null nest fail. Let's see. Let me do this with a wide screen. This is me like giving a card or something, probably, right? So 59. Give a simple payload is just doing that, so we need to do this, except we can't actually do this because post might change. Actually, post doesn't change our state. We don't have a state. So, yep, that should work. Yeah, okay, that's good, that's correct. That's just missing there's an on agent or on arbo response. This one that we're gonna want. We also want might as well get the signature because we don't have that running. It needs to end with stat. Yeah, that'll say lure service, so that'll be fine. All right. That's standard, like kernel style indentation. Although there are other places where it gets used differently. All right, how does this work? Well, it compiles, and the other one presumably went through. Let's find this and see what happens. Well, I think I have a shortcut. No, wait. I can do it on the left and on the right because, oh yeah, there. Okay. Where are we at? Localhost, is it 8080? Let's see. Technically, we want lure service running on Zod, but we'll look at it on bus. Okay, this is 8081, right? Yeah. Okay, but debug. Log in. Yeah. Okay. Everybody went to lure service. So now let's do this. That should go to it, but it should get a 404. Let me turn on debug on this just so that we see, is it actually getting hit? That claims no. Was this supposed to be bus token? Whoa. Yeah, okay. For some reason it's only subpaths, I guess. Don't know why that is. Or no, it's actually just that. Oh, debug's not the right one. I meant less verb. That's why. Alright, now if I go here, it should still have that 404, right? Yeah. Okay, and that shows up. Wherever I was, we go here. Right. That's exactly what I expected the page to look like. If we view the page source, it looks exactly like you would expect that to look. You could even like pretty print it or whatever. You know, if you do. Actually, I don't think this does. Well, that shows you it, right? It's very simple. All right. So then we say, okay, my pat p is neck. Request invite. Internal service error. Because we have a zap on line 66, right? Which is here. Because we don't handle the post yet. Okay. We're getting very close. That worked really well off the, like, there was not a lot of, what do you call? We had to keep recompiling stuff or anything. It just, first time it worked, it worked. Okay. So if we get a post on that URL, then we want to, well, we're going to want this, but it's not landing page, it's sent page, something like that. And we also want to actually do something. That's not going to parse, but it's, yeah. Okay, so. All right, so this should say then. All right. Looks good. And if we commit this, just to make sure that everything's oh wait, it's still, yeah, so if we do it like this, it's not actually going to send anything, but it'll get close. Yeah, sure, resubmit. Perfect, okay. Okay, then, that produces a list, right? So, we will weld that, or can actually, yeah, we can just cons it on. Then we actually want to send, which is pass agent. We're going to want to parse out the inviting ship. I send it to the Lure app, and it should be poke of byte 0. Or no, it's lure bait or something, and then byte 0. Token, yeah, and the argument, which is it's that basically. Okay. I'm tempted to just do it this way. There's a bunch of different ways to split this across multiple lines. Feel okay about this one for this case. All right. For this, we need a few things. We need an inviter. We need a token and an invitee. And these are going to get parsed out of the URL and the post arguments. So, okay, inviter is going to be this one, Slavs and P. We really should, yeah, actually, we should do this up above because you want to give a 404 if it doesn't, or even 50, whatever. I don't know, something else if it doesn't match, because there's no point going through the process and being like, oh, your token was malformed, or your invite was malformed. Okay, so it's I dot, let's see, we have a type here, I dot t dot site dot request line. That's actually evidence that it should be more like this, just so it's not so long. Token is this, and then invitee comes from the request object, body unit octs. Do we have anything that can read post data? Probably not. It's very simple though. So invitee actually does get defined in here because we don't know what it is unless we're in the post case, in which case we should know what it is. So what's sig body dot request? Yeah. Then not found. Gen server. Otherwise, we want to do u dot body dot request. We want to take the octs, so q dot that should give us the actual text of it. Starting with the actual text, we want to say that it starts with ship tis. I think, honestly, I want to print it out just to make sure that I know what it is. And then comment out the rest of this. That should have worked. Wait, what line did I change? Oh, okay. It hadn't copied over. It only copies over once every 2 seconds. So, all right. Neck request invite. Invite has been sent. The body is this, which should have cast it, but even if I don't, I can do this. Ship is URL code. Oh, and submit to, oh man. Is there any way I can get rid of the submit one? I don't remember how Forbes work. If I don't give it a name, does it not show up? Maybe. Like what happens if we do this? Is that like allowed? I don't know. Should have cast it. Oh well. Yeah, it works. Okay. I assume that's still, legal HTML. That'll be a job for front-end people whenever we get around to it. This is a prototype. All right, so okay, how do we URL decode? Or we say, who cares? This is a very specific thing. You don't have to have some generic URL decoder. It's send7 capital E. Okay. Yeah, that works fine. So we're going to say then, okay, so what we want to do then is say, unless, okay, it's N3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 8. Yeah. See, there's the byte that I don't want to overwrite. Like, that is of type byte. All right. Of q.u.body.request. Is it even not found? It's probably like, I don't know, 5.0 something. I don't remember what they are. It doesn't matter. All right. Yeah, not found is a little bit, is certainly misleading there, but I don't remember what the actual one would be, and it doesn't matter. So, what's the reverse of end? It's like right shift, right? Yeah. All right. So then, it's slav send p. Put an actual sig on the front of rsh 38 q.u.body.request. There's our invitee. Obviously, if that crashes, instead of a 404, we get the actual stack trace. But again, I plead prototype. And then we want to send this to wherever it is. That, yeah, that looks about right. Need pet UD have pass for 71. Oh, because give simple, ouch. Because yeah, give simple payload only works if it, or, you know, it's whatever simple payload is. I guess that's in here. Weird. Which is totally fine, except that here we're giving another move. It's the easiest way to do this. Well, I could just make this a smaller thing. I'll just call it give. And then we can put it everywhere. Well, technically, if we're gonna pull the ID in, then it needs to be here. Okay, then it's here, it's give that. It's at least small enough that it's not terrible to have everywhere. Even if it's not great. Yeah, and that's still giving a list, so this works. All right, how does that work? Needs I meant to put in a barquette and also FEP. It's the archaic term for hep. Okay, it's like here. Have response header. Yeah, so there's some line where we should be giving a move, and instead we're giving a response header 70. What? Yeah, there's something in here is doing that. Let me scan through it if I don't see. Oh yeah, there it is. Might be another one. Okay, perfect. So this should go all the way through. Like, as in I should see a printf. If it does, then that's a big deal. Okay. Yeah, that got all the way through to the subscription. Okay, then let's get this running on actually separate ships. There's no neck is not actually needed here, although it could be. Yeah, we just hide neck. Yeah, that's it. That's a good one, right? Well, you click this and boom, you get hide. That's a good. We can have sub do that instead of just slogging it. That'll give us a complete test. Okay, but let's install this on Zod. From bus, because that's where we're copying stuff in anyways. Lure, but we also need to make that public. Alright. And then we'll go back to sub. And here, instead of slogging, we will send a hi. So that's going to be pass agent. So now it is a good thing that we zap-galled it. We'll also print it out for the moment, although we don't really need to. Okay, so sub got bait. Bait has, I don't remember. Lure, sir. It's lure, is where this file is. Ship.bait. Send hood. Send it helm high if I remember, and then a tape. Welcome, your token was token dot bait. Okay, here we'll use this method again. It's still questionable, but it's fine. Alright. Let me go ahead and cast this one because it could be easy to get that wrong. Okay. Nick does not have lure installed, that's fine. Okay, let me... Well, basically I just want these to show up in the right order. Zod will put it at 8080, plus 8081, neck 8082. Alright, then you can specify in the command line now, I think, but it doesn't matter. Alright, so then the next thing we want to do is say, right, so I think we can just test this. So, okay. Alright. Right, so Zod should be running the lure service. I think it is. Bus should be running lure. It also has sub, which is integrating off of lure to say whenever we hear about a token, we'll hi that person with their token. So bus is the inviter essentially, and neck is the one that's getting invited. The invite in this case, because I'm not integrating with groups specifically, is just a hi message. So we want to generate a invite And so we do this, oops. How does that not work? Oh, right, it's not chord anymore, now it's noun. Because that was the issue before. Okay, well, my history is gone. It's fine. All right, so we have this. Is it reap or rep? It's reap, right? I'm pretty sure. Okay. No, rap. Yeah, I'm like, it's not rep, but yeah, so rap 3. This with the ship that we want to invite is neck. Or, no, sorry. This ourself is, because we don't know what ship we're trying to invite. But we're going to serve as a configuration ship. So we put that in, and then we put in also a random token, which we can even make random. We will do the first 8 characters of the SEN-UW of maybe it should even be Pat Pete, but we'll do SEN-UW of any. Let's see what that looks like. That's a Pat T, of course. All right, there's a token. Tokens probably actually should be a little longer. So now the idea is I send this to Alice, who's the person I'm trying to invite. They should be able to like actually just click this. If I remember how to do that, let me pull that onto the same screen. So that brought up this in my browser. I'll close the other stuff. And it said, enter your Pat P. Well, the person being invited knows their neck. This is where you would have the hosting integration, for example, be like, oh, you don't have a Pat P? Well, here's how you can get one. But I know that I'm neck, and so I want to request the invite, and that should result in a hi here. Well, we got the sub there. However, the hi looks like it did not go through. Yeah, I think I forgot to do the last one. To commit the last changes. So this is on sub 45, which is about not where I expected it to be. Oh yeah. $45. Sub 45? Where was that? Okay, so sub 44, 45. Need that. It must just be because it's equip card cab. Because it's not card. We haven't redefined card, so it's card agent call. All right, let's try that. Now it still doesn't like that, but it should not like it in the correct place, I believe. 33. Yeah, so it's saying this is not it. It's probably correct. So it's pass, wire, agent, ship, name, and then the deal. It's poke. Alright, that compiled. So now if we try this again, does that work? Bus is your neighbor. That's pretty close, but my guess is that Helm High oh, right, that's not the argument. You poke your own hood, not their hood. It doesn't let. Otherwise, you get high on behalf of someone else. Let's poke our own hood with. I think it's like this or something. Let's check. Helm High. Poke high. How does it know who to poke? Oh no, that's it comes from the other side. Oh, it's not even Helm High. Oh, wait, no. Poke Send High was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, wait. Poke Helm High should work. So, wait, let me switch it back to this. Poke High says... Oh, it's just... It actually comes in as a chord, not a tape. It's fine. Alright. And then... Let's try this again. Welcome, your token was... Because now it's a chord. We will do it this way. And then do cat 3. Actually, honestly, this is the kind of place where Tizfaz is probably better, because then you can do this. That's a natural thing to keep out separate, and then the whole thing fits neatly on one line. Yeah, that is significantly better. There are other ways to do it, right? You can do it. Yeah, there's a bunch of ways to do this. I like this one. All right. Try this again. That went through. Okay. Then let's run through that test one more time. This is the one that we can clip for YouTube. Not that test. That test was, missed. I'm generally using Twitch for the actual development. Oh, this one's short enough. I might do like a separate YouTube video that's just like, hey, you want to see the development? Here's the development. Because it should be easy to follow this for anyone who's like been through Hoon School or whatever, or maybe you need app school. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. So, where are we at then? So, Zod is running the alert service. Bus is wanting to invite Alice, who is Neck. But Bus doesn't know that Alice is Neck, and it's just like wants to be able to send her a link. So, Bus runs this command, through an actual UI, of course, but it's, scry out the default service, put on the, we're going to act as a configuration ship here, so we put that in there, and we make a token, a random token. That creates a URL, and we will now, click on the link. The dot is, oh well, it's not going to make a difference because we don't actually read the URL, but it's fine. Okay. So that's, it says enter your pat P. I'm Alice. My pat P is neck. And so when I click this, we should expect to see that basically Zod's going to, because this is running on Zod, it should poke bus with that information. Bus will slog that, and it'll also, since I haven't integrated with the groups, it'll just send a hi to neck saying, "Hey, here's your token," which proves that the the process works, and then everything else is, other than polishing this code, is make this landing page nicer, make the hosting integration work, and so on. Request invite, bam, there. So we can see on neck we got a hi from bus saying, "Welcome, your token was this." On bus we had some verbosity on, and so we were able to see, yeah, we saw the token that was passed in and so on. Great. Okay, that works. That works. Yeah, like that's basically good enough for an MVP, with, well, right, like the steps you want for any like real usage of this is implement one example of all the genericity, right? So integrate this with groups, for example, such that it actually sends an invite would be a good one, or at the very least integrate so that it sends a DM, right? Integration with hosting needs to happen at some point, but this feels pretty good. Yeah, I will commit this and probably just make a little repo for it. I don't know that we'll continue to do development in this repo, but all right, looks good. Yep. All right, so this is there's the URL, GitHub, Herbit, Lur. Should have everything in here. Oh, the other ones didn't go in. Oh yeah, I meant, okay. Good old git commit hep a hep amend followed by git push hep f. Looks good. All right. Looks good. No documentation. Documentation is watch the video. All right. I was a bit worried that getting even to this level of an MVP would be like, an 8-hour stream or something. But obviously there's no reason why it should be. I was thinking that I might run into problems with the spec. I don't think I made any changes to the spec really, except technically this should be sen 7e. I'll say where's Sig Alice because they can guess what sen 7e is. Okay. That seems fine. Was there anything else? Oh, right. The token that goes in there should be the whole URL. The whole lure URL. That's basically it, though. I think everything else here, it seemed fine. I added another poke, but like you can infer that. And I changed a typo. But I think that is about it. All right. From that point, like that to me makes it easier to, like now I can think about this as, okay, we have this foundational service and everything else you can take one at a time. instead of trying to think about, okay, how does this interact with that as a whole system. That's too much to think about at once. Your goal is to hub and spoke this thing and make the hub small and generic. One of the things I mean by generic there is that because the Lure service and the Lure app don't know anything about like the groups app or what an invitation to a group means or anything like that, you don't have to test them specifically with groups invitations. You only have to test them with like anything, because all they're registering is clicks. And so there's so many fewer ways that can go wrong as compared to if it knows that every step of the way, has a bunch of what haps or whatever. It's like, oh, this is this kind of click or this kind of invitation or follows this template. You want that to exist only at the edges and not in the system code in the middle. It's unclear to me whether Lure should be in, like, arguably you could put it in base, garden. In our current structure, garden is probably the right place for it. I don't know if stuff's getting moved around to groups too, but I don't think it is. I don't think garden is. I think it's only like landscapes getting split up into a couple desks and so on, or at least moved to a different desk. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. That's probably a good place to end the stream. Yeah. If you want to get notified when I stream, subscribe on Twitch. I tend to also put like either cutout sections or like do some kind of like posting highlights and whatever on YouTube. If you subscribe there and hit the notification button, then you'll get notifications there as well, which is generally going to be. I don't put a lot of effort into it, but I do cut out some of it. It'll be generally a somewhat better experience than watching the Twitch stuff, unless you like to see it raw, which is what I enjoy. So, all right, I will see you around.